What's up, good people? Mark Holmes here, and as always, I want to say thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. So we are at the point of the season, of course, being the offseason that no Cowboy fan wants to be at, but we are while the Eagles are preparing to play in the Super Bowl. The question is, how are we going to get our ass there? And so we have a multitude of free agent players on the roster that we have to decide, should they stay or should they go? And if we should be looking at them as we can't live without them, or do we look at them and say, if they go, can we get something for them? A couple of things that will go into this equation is the type of players that you may be able to get in the draft to replace them. Or if there are better, and this is where the Cowboys they love the values. They'd rather sign a guy to replace a guy if they can save some money. That's the Catboy way of doing business. So we're going to start right now. I hadn't actually planned on starting with Cooper Rush. But I think I'm going to start there because of what Jerry Jones has said at the Senior Bowl. Jerry Jones at the Senior Bowl right now, of course, seems to be locking in on Max Duggan, a quarterback from TCU. Of course, he's close to the Cowboys, so they've been able to see him and stuff. And Jerry Jones seemed to have fallen in love with him. So, and we also hear Jerry Jones saying that, we should be drafting a quarterback every year, which of course perks up every single one of the Dak Prescott haters out there to say, yeah, get somebody. And in some regards, you should look at this to resupply what you're having. And you never know, you might get a Brock Purdy. You might get a Dak Prescott. You might find a Tony Romo as a free agent. So it's nothing wrong with rolling the dice to see what you can get. So let's look at Max Duggan, quarterback TCU. Right now he is, according to WalterFootball.com, about the ninth best prospect at quarterback. He's 6'2", a little bit shorter than you want for your quarterback. He's only 210 pounds. You like to have a little bit meat on him, but, when you get into the pros, of course, you can kind of bulk up a little bit. He is pretty quick. He is a 4.6 40, and he's projected to go between the third and the fifth round. So not, incredible, but not, one that's going to necessarily cost you a whole lot. He completed 64% of his college passes for 3,698 yards, 32 TDs. And 8 interceptions. Sorry. I was up real early this morning. Having to go downtown to look at a job. And Jerry Jones seems to truly like this guy. So if you really like him, then this brings us back to Cooper Rush. Cooper Rush, who, we have it on the roster for basically $1 million. We ended up signing him from the Giants, and most Cowboy fans wanted to cut him before the season. Now some Cowboy fans think you cut Dak Prescott and you let Cooper Rush become your bridge quarterback. The question is, what is Cooper Rush worth? Depending on who you listen to. For me, I look at him as comparable to what Andy Dalton is at this point. Cooper Rush, again, his average salary was $977,500, is an unrestricted free agent. Now, Andy Dalton, if we make him a comparable, Andy Dalton's current estimated market value is $6.8 million. But now, with the lack of quarterbacks that are out there and what Cooper Rush did, and Cooper Rush being a lot younger, Cooper Rush may be a little bit more valuable than that. Now, here's what happened for us. When Andy Dalton, after playing for us for 1 year, he ended up signing a $10 million contract with the Bears, okay? which was kind of surprising because he really didn't have that great of a year. And here's what we ended up getting because he signed that $10 million contract. We ended up getting a 5th-round compensatory pick. Not outstanding, but better to get something in return for a free agent than getting nothing, which is typically what happens when we end up cutting guys. So from the standpoint of saying, if and depending on what the Cowboys do, because that's the big if, the way the compensatory picks work is you lose players in free agency that you don't replace in value. So if Cooper Rush ends up signing a $8 million a year deal with another team and you don't sign a like contract in return, then you end up getting a compensatory pick depending on how big the value is. So ideally, you would want Cooper Rush to sign a $12 million contract for somebody to take a flyer on him. You know, Washington, hey, sign Cooper Rush, because the higher the value, up to round 3 is as high as the compensatory pick can be, or as low as 7. And the good thing now is now you can use those compensatory picks as tradable. And this will actually go into a lot of the thought process for the Cowboys on who to stay and who to let go. When Robert Quinn left and signed a big contract with the Bears, I believe we got a 4th-round compensatory pick for him, which is a lot more advantageous considering we used a 6th-round pick to trade for him. And so this is a game that the Cowboys will probably be playing with a lot of these players. And then you start thinking, am I better off risking a guy who we're not really sure on, or let somebody else pay him a boatload of money and then build for the future with more compensatory picks? I can't tell you which way he's going to go. All I can do is put it out there. And I wouldn't have a problem with the Cowboys drafting another quarterback, later in the draft. If you can get Max Dugan in the 4th or 5th round, why not take a flyer on that one? And because basically what you're going to get back in return is letting Cooper Rush go and sign a contract elsewhere. So in some regards, he's really not costing you because you're just kind of borrowing a draft pick a year early. So that's my thoughts on that. Chances are that this guy is not going to be replacing Dak, unfortunately for the Dak Prescott haters. But it is kind of crazy as I was going through, because I just got from Michael Ward. He is talking about some of the comments that I get. Some of the comments that I get about Dak Prescott and everything else. And as he put it, damn, Mark, there are many dumbasses in your comment section of your videos about our monuments. You have much thicker skin than I would ever. Okay, so, and I get a lot of different ones, of course, for Dak Prescott as well. It's just the world that we live in, that we can't have a discussion without people feeling that they need to insult you. I'm just going to try and be the bigger person. All right, good people, we'll see. Will Jerry Jones draft a quarterback this year? I will catch you later. Peace.